So the agenda for today will be a brief overview of TISCI, then followed by a modern finance overview done by our finance director. And then the demo session will be done by Tom Watson, one of TISCI's Business Central consultants. And then lastly will be the question section. If you do have any questions during the webinar, please do pop them in the question box, else we'll make some room available for questions in the end. So, Tom, next one, please. TISCI is an award-winning business for software such as Microsoft Dynamics 365 for CRM, ERP, Azure, and Power Platform. We were founded in 2011, and since we have grown to more than 100 employees, with more than 80 of our employees in delivery roles. TISCI's ERP practice, and we're very proud of this, is led by accountants or people with extensive accountancy background. So within our services, there on the right-hand side, you can see TISCI offers a full end-to-end solution for business. We don't just take software and push it to your business and say, well, there you go, the software's been implemented, you can use it. We make sure that we give the best to your business, make sure that there's a full solution, starting from business transformation straight through to the support in the end. So if we carry on to the next slide, Tom, I'm conscious that I don't want to talk into your demo too much, and I do quite like a bit of talking. So if we looked at the full Microsoft overview, on your left-hand side over there, you'll see that we've got the Microsoft Office suite. That is your Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, all of those sort of things. Smack in the middle, we've got the round circle over there, which is your Microsoft Dynamics 365 modules. Those include your CRM and then the finance solution, which is your Business Central. And then on the right-hand side is the advanced analytics. These include your dashboards on Power BI, your Cortana Intelligence, and your machine learning. So what TISCI does, sorry, Tom, back one. We offer the full integration with a Microsoft Office solution. So those on your left, to Microsoft D365 in the middle, for auto-publishing of data from Excel into your finance solution and full interactions from within your Outlook, including the ability to create and post sales document without even leaving your email. The user interfaces in Microsoft Dynamics 365 allow you for simple access and the use of the solution. The D365 solutions are fast to implement, easy to configure, and the simplicity of these guides innovation in the product design, development, implementation, and the usability. Dynamics 365 Finance, so the Business Central, is available for both on-premise or a cloud deployment. At TISCI, we are dedicated to ensuring that the front and back office operations of your business run smoothly and successfully, hence the integration between the full Microsoft modules and solutions left-hand right. We work with the management teams and all of the key departments within your business, including the finance, to implement a solution that not only increases your business efficiency, but offers an attractive return on investment, and improve and enhance your processes. And then with the integration there on your right-hand side, we ensure that you've got a real-time 360-degree view of your business to assist with the management decisions that you need to make day to day. So all of these Microsoft solutions are, if you see the ribbon, the blue one there at the bottom, are on top of the common data service. So the data available in each one of these three is live. And this allows you to spend less time trying to find data and mapping data, more time to interpret your data. So if we carry on then to the next one, if there are any questions, please do ask them, but I'll hand over to Richard Baxter, our finance director, to give an overview of the modern finance.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kim. So I'm going to just walk through, and I'm going to keep it very short because obviously we want to spend the time actually in the product looking at the demo. I'm just going to walk through quickly what we mean by modern finance. So if we can move on to the next slide, Tom, that would be great. So modern finance is a very easy thing to say and a more difficult thing to explain. And what we mean by modern finance is it's taking away those laborious tasks that every finance department do on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, myself, I've been a finance director and a finance controller in multiple organisations. And so I'm very aware that there is a huge amount of transactional churn in any finance department. Equally to that, there is a huge amount of historical reporting, looking at stuff backwards. And modern finance really gives you an opportunity to look at stuff forwards and not just always focusing on what has been, but actually focusing on what is actually going to happen and using the data that you've actually got in your system to be able to drive information and business change moving forward. So we picked up on 4 specific things here. So automation of daily tasks, as we were talking about, predictive analytics, so using information built into your finance system to predict information moving forward, using machine learning and artificial intelligence to enable things. And for those of you who have sat on previous parts of this webinar series, we covered a lot of predictive analytics and machine learning in our cash flow webinar, which was the first one we did, which was around taking the data from those from the core information sat inside your finance system to predict what your cash flow is going to look like moving forward, and not just based upon a set of rules, but based upon trends and analytics going on in the background of what your data is actually telling you, which is the kind of stuff you can use a lot of machine learning for, which, yes, you can do yourselves manually, but there's a huge task, obviously, the more data that you have over a period of years. In our second session, we covered off real-time information, a lot of reporting, getting information out immediately rather than that 2-3 week time frame of we've just got to wait until we've closed off, we've just got to wait for this, we've got to wait for that. Getting information really, really quickly to the people who need it, to allow them to almost auto-refresh the data themselves and see information on a day-to-day basis. And today, we're really covering off the first one, which is the automation of daily tasks. So if we can go to the next slide, please, Tom. So what we're going to cover today is looking at payment reconciliations, looking at creation of direct debit information for your banks, and bank reconciliation areas. So one of those core areas, and again, from my own experience, bank reconciliations are one of those things that can be incredibly laborious, incredibly manual, take a huge amount of time, not necessarily balanced the first time. So then it's a re-review. You know, I've been in the industry long enough to be sat there with a highlight pen, ticking from a bank statement to a book, and we've kind of moved on quite away from there, but it still can be quite a laborious task. So what we're going to look at today is ways of automating a lot of these processes. Obviously, within that, accuracy is paramount, and Tom will cover a lot of how the system automates this process to ensure that you're getting accurate data. One of the other things, of course, and one of the advantages with automating processes like payment reconciliations is you can turn what can be a weekly or a monthly task into a task that is continually running, or a task that you can do every single day. So your data is much more real time, and your data is much more up to date, and therefore much more useful to you as an organization moving forward. And then the final thing, of course, direct debit data. A lot of organizations now collect direct debits from their clients, especially for recurring invoices and those kind of things. Tom's going to run through that area as well and show you how a lot of that can be automated with moving data backwards and forwards between the bank and your finance application. So I'm going to now let Tom show you a little bit of that. And as I say, any questions at all, please either ask in the chat, or we will have a time at the end if anyone's got any of them. And I'm going to hand over to Tom to do the clever stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich. So as Rich was saying, we're going to do a bit of a demo. First off, we're going to look at the direct debit collections, and we're also going to be looking at some recurring sales and using recurring sales lines and recurring sales invoicing, and hopefully that will show how you can speed up invoicing and ultimately payments of invoices. And then secondly, we're going to move on to the payment reconciliation journal. So direct debit collections will start on a customer. So there's a bit of setup involved with direct debit collections. So you can see we've got a bank account code, and I've set some payment terms up which show that it's a direct debit, and we can keep track of these customers. So to set up a direct debit, we need a direct debit mandate. So we start with clicking navigate, direct debit mandate. Tab away to automatically give it an ID. Select the bank account code from earlier. Set some validity as well. So if something's going to expire for a year, so this one, for example, is going to be run for a year, and I'll say the signature was in 2019. You say what type of payment we've got. So in this case, we've got a recurrent payment and how many we're expecting. So let's say there's 12. So that's simple as that to set up a direct debit mandate. And we can use that alongside recurring sales lines. So if we look at some recurring sales lines, we go to navigate and sales and recurring sales lines. At the moment, we haven't got any. So we can get one created. So what we can do is we can come to here and click new. I'm going to call this services and services. So we give it a code and a description. And then, as you can see, we've got some lines available to us here. So we've got what we can put as a comment, what we can put as a GL, an item, a resource, fixed asset, and an item charge, essentially what we can see when we do go to the sales invoice area. So I'm going to select an item, and I'm going to select my services item. And in this case, I want to have 3. We can also set up an amount here as well. So this will override any unit price you've got on the item in the background. It will also override any customer data that you've got set up too. So if we just click OK, then we've got that created there. I'm going to put the same date period on this. As you can see, we can also override the payment method that would have been set up on the customer, and as well as the payment terms. And here we can also pull through our direct debit mandate as well. There's some nice little feature on these recurring sales lines in that you can tell the system when you run the job to create invoices, how you want the system to handle these. So for quotes, you've got the option to add them manually, automatically, or always ask. And it's the same for orders, invoices, and credit memos as well. So for the sake of the demo, I'm going to set these to automatic on this customer. Now I'm going to go ahead and create some sales invoices. So create sales invoice. So we've got the option here to create recurring sales invoices. When we do that, we need to fill in some information. So I'm going to set that to run for today. And I'm actually going to select my customer in this case. Once we do that, one invoice was created. So I'm going to navigate that through here on this queue option here. And there's my ongoing invoice. So if I click that, what we then see, that my line's been automatically added. We've got the information about the customer at the top, and we've also, my direct debit mandate's also pulled through automatically for me. So we can go ahead and post that. So as you can see, this is really quick way of getting through the system to get the information onto the sales invoice. So I'm not going to open that, but I am going to, the next thing we're going to do is create a direct debit collection. So I'm going to do that by navigating to direct debit collections. And all I have to do is simply click new, fill in my my filters again. So my filters are fine for this. It's going to create me an entry of a direct debit, as you can see. So I'll just click into that by clicking the number. It's created my direct debit mandate. It's given me my mandate ID. It's going to tell me what information I've got. So it's my first payment. If I just hide the extra information, it's the first payment, what the status of it is, what it's applied to. So all in the background, everything's applied manually, automatically, sorry. I then have the option to export the direct debit file. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then as you can see, it's just opened up there, and that's an example of the XML file. This is the standard out of the box XML file. So if you have a separate requirement for the bank, you can set these up via the data exchange definitions. Once the file's created, we can then actually, as you can see, there's an option here at the top to post payment receipts. And what that'll do is it'll create a payment journal and apply the direct debit to the invoice. But we're not going to do that because it will link on nicely to the payment reconciliation journal. So if I just close that collection now, that is closed off. So now we're going to move on to the payment reconciliation journal. So we navigate that to that via cash management and payment reconciliation journals. And I'm going to, so first off, the payment reconciliation journal, it has multiple functions available to it. You're able to post the receipts towards sales invoices, payments towards purchase invoices, and at the same time reconcile your bank, all within the payment reconciliation journal. So the first step would be to go to your bank and download the statement. Typically that's in CSV file, text file, or a similar delimited file. And again, you set those up in the data exchange definition area. So if I create a new one, I can click process and import bank statements. System goes away to check which ones have got certain things set up in the to allow them to have automatic bank reconciliation. I'm going to choose my direct debit bank, and I'm going to choose my file, the statement import file. and we've got some working on it. It's essentially looking in the background to see what to map the lines that we've got on the statement to the lines that we've got within the system set up on the payment application rule. So as you can see, we've got 13 payment lines there, 15 are applied. So if we click OK, it'll take us into the document, the payment reconciliation journal. We've got some confidence matches on the left-hand side. We've got some high, some medium, some none. So what's the system actually done? So if I navigate to payment application rule, what the system's done is it's checked within here to see if the line I've imported from my bank matches certain criteria within these rules. If it does, it's going to give me that level of match confidence. So for the first one, that's going to be my receipt that I've just created for my direct debit. So it's only going to consider my direct debit collection. If the number matches the direct debit collection number I've got created, then it's going to match. Similarly, we've got some for medium where it's got some multiple matches. So as you can see, if we go across, we've got certain priorities you put them in numerical order. And then we've got whether you want to consider related party matching, and then how much you want to consider it by fully, partially, or no. Whether you want to match the document number or the external document number to one of the statement narrative lines. If you want a bit of a tolerance in there between some of the amounts, and again whether direct debit collection is matched. So as you can see, we've got some match confidence levels of high. So if we click into this, you can see it's saying not considered, not considered, not considered, because it's also giving us further information about what are the rules that it's applied using those payment application rules. As you can also see, we've got some match confidence of none. So this means that it's looking in the system, it's like, I don't know where this is going to go, so I have no confidence. Me personally looking at this, I'm going to look at this and think this is a charge, it's a bank charge. So I can do a manual application here. So I can go to manual application, text map to account. It's going to pre-populate my mapping text, and then I select which direct debit and credit account I'm going to post these to. So for this one, I'm going to select them both to go to the same ones, and then close that. And then, as you can see, the match confidence has changed now to high text to account mapping. So next time we import a reconciliation journal and it sees transaction text charges, it's going to automatically send it to this GL account. We've also, at the bottom, we've got the a match confidence of none for this for NOD publishers. So this particular line, I know that this is a vendor of mine, so I can check the account type and I can go into vendor. I can find NOD publishers there, and then it's applied that line. And as you can see, the match confidence there is manual. So that's not applied to anything on an invoice in particular. That's just saying essentially it's a payment on accounts that I will deal with later at a later date. So let's review what we've got on the payment reconciliation journal. We've got on the top line, we've got a high confidence match for a receipt towards a customer. On the second line, we've got a high confidence match of a payment from a vendor, and then we've also got that high text to account mapping to a GL, and then we've also done a payment to account on that bottom line as well. So then following from that, we're now able to post this journal as there's no further lines that need applying to anywhere. So we can click posting, and then we've got two options. So we've got the second option is post payments only. So what that'll do in the background, it'll post the payment, as in it'll post the receipt for the customer, it'll post the payment for the vendor, it'll post the GL line to the GL for that charge, but it won't reconcile your bank. This first option is post payments and reconcile a bank account. So what that will do is it'll post your payment and create your bank line and also do your bank reconciliation. So you can see that as you go through your bank on your payment reconciliation journal, you are not doing all the tasks you need to do as there used to be, where you'd post payments, receipts, then you do your bank rec. You can do it all within one screen. And that's the end of the demo.